Simplifying a ratio of whole numbers, problem type 1. Write the ratio as a fraction in simplest form with whole numbers in the numerator and the denominator. So it says 36 centimeters to 40 centimeters. So literally, when we rewrite this as a fraction, the 2 is the fraction bar. So the first number, 36 centimeters, goes on top. The second number, 40 centimeters, goes on the bottom. And then we simplify it first by canceling the units because we have centimeters and centimeters. Those can cancel. So just like numbers from top to bottom, the units cancel. And then we go through and we figure out what can 36 and 40 divide by. Well, they can both divide by 4, which is the greatest common factor. So if I divide by 4, I get 9. If I divide by 4 on the bottom, I get 10. Now, if you didn't see that right away, it's perfectly fine if you say, oh, they're both even. I'm going to divide by 2 first. I get 18 and I get 20. Oh, they're still both even again. I'm going to divide by 2 again. So I get 9 and 10. So even if you don't see the greatest common factor right away, or you don't work out the greatest common factor yourself, it's still perfectly fine if you kind of divide it twice, and I forgot to put the 2's in here. But, or if you see the greatest common factor, it just means you only have to divide once. All right, so let's clear that, and let's go ahead and complete a couple of problems here. All right, so again, we're writing the ratio as a fraction in simplest form with whole numbers in the numerator and denominator. So I'm not necessarily going to read that each and every time because it's the same thing. So we have 64 over 8. And even though this doesn't say 2, it doesn't necessarily matter because there's a few different ways to write this. And actually here, I'm going to click on ratio real quick because it should show us. So we can write 5 to 2 is a ratio, which you can write with a colon or you can write as a fraction. So you can write it a bunch of different ways, okay? So I just wanted to make sure. It doesn't have to have the word 2 there. So 64 over 8. We want to find the greatest common factor, which I'm going to identify as I know that it's 8, like this. So I'm going to go 64 divided by 8 is 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. They do not want you to get rid of the fraction. I believe they want you to leave it as a fraction because they want a whole number in the numerator and the denominator. So we want the fraction bar, we want 1 over 8. So we're just reducing the ratio. We're not getting rid of it so that it's one number. Okay, so let's check. And we're good. All right, clear. And next. All right, so we have 24 over 42. So now we want to reduce. If you didn't see right away what it can divide by, that's perfectly fine. Just start dividing by 2's. They're both evens. If you can't divide by 2 because they're not both even, try 3. So you just want to go down your list and keep dividing until you can't divide anymore. So if I divide by 2, I get 12. If I divide by 2, I get 21. Okay, so they're not both even, but I'm pretty sure you can divide both by 3. So then I go 4 and I go 7. So now 4 and 7, nothing can divide into those. So I know I'm down to as far down as I can go in reducing, and I check it. And I'm good. All right, clear. One more of these. So I have 36 gallons to 32 gallons. So the first thing you do is cancel this out. And then we just have 36 and 32. So 36 and 32, and we say, what can we divide by? So if you recognize right away what you can divide by, that's great. Or you can start with 2's. I do recognize they both divide by 4. So if I divide by 4 on the top, I get 9. If I divide by 4 on the bottom, I get 8. So if you didn't recognize that it was 4, you could have done 2 and then 2 again. It's still perfectly fine to do that. It just makes it a little bit quicker if you can recognize the greatest common factor. And they also don't care that this is an improper fraction. It started as an improper fraction, so it was going to end as 1. Alrighty, we're done.